There is the feeling at Collinwood that time has been suspended, that the past and the present exist as one. For there is one who lived long ago who has returned to live again. He is destined to live and sow the seeds of terror in the dark hours of the night.
Good evening, Willie.
Dr. Hoffman was here today.
Oh, what did she want?
She moved a few things into the room we gave her. Said she'd come back tonight to see you.
Oh, what a pity. I won't be here.
Well, where are you going?
If she drops in, you may tell her that I've gone to Collinwood for the evening.
Why are you going there?
Because I have relatives there, remember?
You mean you're going up there to pay a social visit?
Now, why else would I be going there?
Well, that's what I'd like you to tell me.
Willie, you have the most annoying way of getting things confused. I am not beholden to you. You are beholden to me. And don't forget that.
Barnabas, you're going up to Collinwood to see Vicky Winters and nobody else.
Miss Winters is an extraordinary young woman. She hears the voices of the past. She has a sensitivity which few others have.
I wish you'd leave her alone.
Leave her alone? Why should I deny myself the pleasure of her charming company?
Now, you know what I mean. Don't hurt her.
Willie, you do get to be a bore. No wonder I seek other company.
You got plans for her, Barnabas. I don't like that.
I have no plans. At least nothing sinister. In the manner of all men attracted to beautiful women, I shall try to make Miss Winters favor me with her attentions.
But you're not an ordinary man.
True. I have certain distinct advantages. And, least of all, a less limited point of view.
Yeah. And no scruples about how to go about to interest her. You'll hurt her if you have to.
Willie, let's not go back on that. I have no plans to harm Miss Winters. Now, shall we let it go at that?
And what if I don't believe you?
You have no choice but to believe me. You know, I really don't understand this mood you're in, Willie. If anything, I should think you'd be filled with joy this evening.
Why?
Because Maggie Evans is alive. I must admit that the thought of it doesn't fill me with much joy.
What happens if Dr. Hoffman can't keep her from telling everything she knows?
All we can do is hope that he has the situation completely under control.
I think it's risky giving her a room downstairs.
Dr. Hoffman has a few foolish notions about science. And we do have an empty room. This is a big, empty house.
This house isn't empty. Not with the secret it holds.
And Hoffman knows that secret.
Well, you don't seem to care that she knows.
I didn't say that.
Well, you're giving her everything she wants.
For the moment. Only for the moment. And I want you to concentrate on Dr. Hoffman.
What do you want me to do?
Watch her. Keep track of her every moment, however innocent it may seem. For the time being, I must cooperate with her. But there'll soon come a time when I shall be prepared to...
To what?
I'm not sure. There's no need for you to worry about it. Just watch her.
All right, I'll keep an eye on her.
You know how very amusing it is.
What?
Your concern for Miss Winters and your total indifference to whatever plans I may have for Dr. Hoffman.
I told you, leave Vicky alone.
And I've told you that no harm will come to her. So don't concern yourself about her. Don't even think about her. The difference between you and Miss Winters is a gap as wide as the sky. Remember that. Well, now I must be going. It's strange, isn't it? How people cling to life. How they seem to consider it so much better to grow old, ugly, and humiliated than to...
To what?
And to remain young and beautiful forever, untouched by time. Untouched by anything.
Except loneliness.
You, make a good cup of coffee.
What?
You're a million miles away.
No, I'm not.
No. You're just at the end of North Road in that house you fell in love with.
I'm sorry. Would you like some more coffee?
No, thanks. That house has really cast its spell over you, hasn't it?
Yes, I guess it has.
You didn't tell me how big it is.
Oh, it's enormous, Burke. And every room has a different view.
Oh, you went inside.
Well, I had to. So I just looked the other way when I walked past the no trespassing sign and went right in.
Was the door open?
Uh-huh.
Well, in that case, the place is probably a shambles on the inside from hobos and kids going in through the years.
No. As a matter of fact, it's in perfect shape, as though it had been abandoned just yesterday.
You know, in those days, they really built houses to last. And ever since I was a kid, I've been very interested in them. In the style, the width of the beams, the height of the ceilings.
Have you? When I looked out one of the windows that faced the sea, I saw a three-masted schooner in the distance.
What are you talking about? There hasn't been a three-masted schooner in those waters for 100 years.
Well, there it was, getting closer and closer all the time. And it was carrying a cargo of cashmere and silk and spices from the Orient. And the captain was there, and he had his young bride with him from Barbados, getting closer and closer.
Vicky, you don't mean to tell me you stood by a window and looked out on an empty ocean and saw all that?
You don't believe me?
Well, of course I don't.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll just have to make up a better story next time.
You mean you were putting me on?
Well, it was the kind of ocean that should have had a three-masted schooner on it. Are you disappointed?
Oh, not at all. I'm delighted. Say, I've got an idea. Why don't we drive out there and take a look at that house?
Oh, yes, let's. Let's go tomorrow. We'll make a picnic and take David.
Well, I wasn't talking about tomorrow. And I wasn't thinking about taking David along. I was thinking about right now.
Right now?
Yes.
Well, are you sure?
Well, of course I'm sure. The way you talk about that house, it's gotten hold of your affections. And that makes it my rival. And I'm the kind of guy who likes to size up his rivals right away and face to face.
Well, all right. But I do want to change into something warmer.
Well, why? The night air is warm enough, isn't it?
Yes. But when I was there, it was very cold. I suppose that's because it's been abandoned so long.
All right. You go up and change into anything that makes you happy, and we'll leave.
Burke, I don't think we should go now. I just don't want to leave David alone. He was so upset about his friend.
Oh, we're in luck. Here comes a babysitter.
Barnabas, how nice to see you.
I was hoping you would think so, Miss Winters. Have you just arrived, Devlin?
As a matter of fact, I was just leaving. We were just leaving.
But we didn't say anything definitely.
Vicky has found a house up on the old North Road, and she wants me to look at it.
Oh, it's right on the ocean. It's surrounded by birch trees. And it's bleached so pale that you can hardly see it unless you know exactly where to look.
Well, it sounds very charming.
Oh, it is. It's the most charming house I've ever seen.
And the emptiest.
Well, now, how did you know it was empty?
Well, I just surmised it. Old houses with people living in them lose a great deal of their charm. But people do so many things that are wrong.
You mean like putting in electricity and heat? Things like that.
Yes. But not that I blame them. I suppose most people enjoy the creature comforts. I don't expect them to live like I do, by candlelight.
It's true, though. Your house has a very special quality to it because you've remained true to the period and not put in things like electricity.
Well, if you'll pardon me for being revolutionary about it, I happen to like electricity. And heat.
Especially heat. Oh, it was so cold in that house you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I can believe that.
It's a pity we can't have both. The candlelight and the comfort.
You know, I would really very much like to see this house of yours.
Oh, it'll never be mine.
Oh, be that as it may, I would like to see it very much.
Well, then you're more than welcome to join us. Isn't he, Burke?
Oh, yeah. Sure, there's nothing I'd like better than the three of us to look at the house by moonlight.
Well, if it's any trouble to you, you can always stay here.
I didn't say anything about trouble.
But then there's something else that we were talking about. Taking David along and making a picnic.
A picnic? Why? When?
Tomorrow, if that would suit you. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea. It would be broad daylight then, and we could get a good look at the house.
And the authorities could get a good look at us, too.
What do you mean?
Well, no trespassing sign means just that. No trespassing. And it would seem to me to be a little reckless to go out there in broad daylight, uninvited.
Well, now, that's odd. Vicky mentioned there was a no trespassing sign there, but how did you know about it?
Well, almost all empty houses have such signs. But I'm sure that tonight, when most ordinary people are asleep in their beds, we could go out there and look to our heart's content.
I think he's right, Burke.
Well, if you recall, I was the one that had the original idea to drive out there tonight.
Yes, you were. Well, I'll go up and get changed and look in on David.
Well, now, you hurry.
Miss Winters,
Yes?
is anything the matter with Cousin David?
Oh, no. Nothing serious. He was just upset because he invited a friend for dinner and she decided to go home instead.
Is that all?
Yes, it's just that he acted so strangely about it. I suppose when you grow up, you get out of touch with the way that children think. It seems like such a long time ago that we were David's age, doesn't it?
Yes. It does seem like a long, long time ago. I'm very anxious to see the house.
So am I. But I must say that when Vicky and I decided to drive out there today, We didn't expect it to take on the aspects of a guided tour.
I do love the old houses around here. You don't, do you?
No, not usually. I wish Vicky would hurry.
Your impatience surprises me, Mr. Devlin. A man should be willing to wait for a beautiful woman through all eternity, if necessary.
She's had more than enough time to change into a warm dress.
I suppose that's the difference between modern men
And what?
and the kind of men that once lived in these parts. They had a romanticism, a respect for their women that modern men could never feel.
They were as charming as candlelight, weren't they?
You might say that.
Well, I still prefer electricity and heat. And I still wish Vicky would hurry.
You know, your impatience surprises me for many reasons. I would have thought that a man like you, one who has traveled as much as you have.
What makes you think I've traveled?
I merely assume that you have. You're not the sort of person that one usually finds around here. You seem so much more complex. Your tastes are so much more developed. Your viewpoints are different. You have traveled, haven't you?
Yes. Yes, I have traveled. Why do you ask? It's really none of your concern.
Well, none of my concern, of course, but it is interesting to me. After all, you did grow up here. You made your way up in the world, and yet no one seems to know where you had to go or what you had to do to achieve that rise. In point of fact, Mr. Devlin, no one seems to know very much about you. No one at all.
That's how I like it. And that's how I intend to keep it.
They say that a dead man's eyes see everything he's looked at in life. I'd like very much to see through your eyes, Mr. Devlin, and see what it is that you've looked at. I have a feeling that it would be very informative.
What about your eyes, Mr. Collins?
Why do you question that?
Well, because nobody knows very much about you either.
But that's absurd. After all, I am Barnabas Collins, and the Collins family has been in Collinsport from the beginning. Everyone knows all there is to know about them. I'm certain that there are no unanswered questions about the name of Collins.
Oh, but I wasn't talking about the Collins family. I was talking about you. It seems strange that you should be so involved with the Collins family.
Why?
Well, because you didn't grow up with them. You didn't even meet them until a short time ago.
But I've always been very fascinated by the family history. I've read a good deal of it.
Back in England? You had a family history back in England?
Why, yes, of course.
What part of England, Mr. Collins?
Do you know England personally, Mr. Devlin? Have you traveled there? Is that one of the places that will be engraved on your eyes when you're dead?
You know, it's interesting. You must not have known any people there. You never speak of friends in England.
I do not mention friends in England because the simple reason is I have no friends in England.
Oh, I see. You spent the greater part of your life there, but you never met one single living soul. Is that it?
Of course not.
Oh, you did meet people, but you don't remember one single name.
Please, Mr. Devlin, I lived with my cousin on the outskirts of London. I chose to live a very solitary life, and that's precisely what I did.
I trust you remember your cousin's name.
Yes, of course.
What was it?
I beg your pardon.
Your cousin. What was his name?
Oh, Bradford. Niall Bradford.
Well, good. I was beginning to believe that your whole past had become a total and perhaps convenient blank.
You mean like yours, Mr. Devlin?
Yes. Yes, like mine. But you're the one who's so preoccupied with the past. One would think that you wouldn't mind speaking about your own, at least occasionally.
I shall, when the convenient moment arises, believe me.
I'm all ready.
Good. Let's go.
You look lovely, my dear. And I might add, well worth waiting for.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.